Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the first edition of Why I Do What I Do in conversation with educationalist Nikhil Purohit with the artist from the Untitled series. The Untitled series is a digital exhibition taken up as a response to the lockdown to initiate a dialogue with the audience and reconnect and rekindle our relationship with those who have been associated with Priyashri Art Gallery Mumbai and AQ at Priyashri, the Artist Studio, Baroda. We have been running both these institutes for 15 years, and we take this opportunity to make our bonds tighter with them in these uncertain times. I believe there is a past conditioning that evolves us to be what we are in our present state. This conditioning is a driving factor to our expressions, irrespective of the professions we choose. An artist engages himself to his subject and struggles to see something he wants to see. For him, it's not always about doing, it's also about seeing. He wrestles in the realms of his own web, and what precipitates is an event. It's not just art, it's history. 21st century art history has seen many artists and art critics delve into the shift that entails a new perception of the resulting work, where the importance is not only given to the creative process, but also to the functional, mechanical, and personal derivatives an artist derives in his work. So let's hear from the makers of this making and learn more about their minds. Over to you, Meher.
Yeah. So, hi everybody. I would just like to introduce Nikhil here. Just give me a moment. So, yeah, Nikhil is a visual arts professional working in the field of humanities. He is actively contributing to the cultural exchanges through arts administration. He has studied painting as a core subject and pursued ancient Indian history to understand the socio-cultural fabric of ancient civilization. Heritage management being an ancillary area of interest, Nikhil works with organizations and individuals to document their art practice and engages with art education to nurture and promote artistic endeavors. Based in Mumbai, his practice connects him with Mohile Parikh Center for Visual Arts, the Indian Contemporary Art Journal, Amity School of Fine Arts, and similar pedagogical platforms. He heads the initiative Swan Day, dedicated to documenting the arts to promote heritage, art heritage, and its management. So then I drop over to Nikhil Purohit.
Yes. Thanks, Meher, for the introduction. Yes. So I hope I am audible.
Yes.
Right. Great. Okay. So today, the evening session, we begin with a second set of artists. I will just announce their names and then go ahead. Chandrasekhar Koteshwar, Ashish Dhola, Avni Bansal, Deepthi Batlawala, Prachi Batra, and Abhishek Salve. So to begin with, the conversation series, Why I Do What I Do, the trigger as part of the Untitled series, we have a diverse mix of artists with both nascent and formed practices. The congregation today will be representing the artists from each virtual exhibition, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All the artists in the group shows together resemble a notion of Jungian idea of collective unconscious, where the works can be perceived as juxtapose of ontological epiphanies. The second session today has a common thread of cerebral reflection as well as a scientific attitude towards image making with satire and critique as a distinct element. History, memory, infancy, ontogenic notions, ritual, and Anthropocene are the key words that could be the LCM of the group. The discussions today with artists would enumerate the modalities of diverse practice through the lens of collective memories, context, and imagery. Triggers to events and life experiences are occurrences. Through media access, the reasons of disparities, disjunctions, derangements have surfaced significantly, where the ideas of residence, shared ancestry, communal habits, ecological concerns are at the forefront and equally ignored. Today, we shall learn firsthand from the panelists what they do and why they do, what triggers they resort to shape their visual practices. We shall begin with the presentation by Chandrasekhar Koteshwar, leading to rounds of insights to the creative process of each panelist. So I will, in the beginning, I will invite Chandrasekhar to present a brief introduction about Chandrasekhar. Chandrasekhar Koteshwar studied sculpture at Kava, Mysore, and pursued his post-graduation at the Faculty of Fine Arts, MSU Baroda, in museology. A part of Untitled's 2 show and has been the India Art Fair 2020. His works have been showcased at several noteworthy avenues, namely OED Gallery at Kochi during Kochi Biennale 2018 and 2019, Imami Chisel Art Fair in 2014, and Guanlan International Print Biennale, Shenzhen, China 2014. He is also the recipient of Arnavaz Vasudev Foundation Scholarship 2008-9. The material handling and the satirical approach toward historical icons make his practice unique. On this note, I invite Chandrasekhar to begin with his presentation.
Thank you, Nikhil and Shashi Patodia, giving a great opportunity.
Sorry, Chandrasekhar, could you speak slightly loudly?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it is slightly low.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Nikhil and Shashi Patodia, for giving this opportunity. So I'm beginning with the. Actually, I studied my bachelor's from Kava, Mysore, and I master's from Myzology. And already Nikhil told me about introduction. As a trained as a sculptor in my bachelor's degree and post-graduation in museology has helped me in understanding, shifting, and align these different disciplinary practices. As a sculptor, I have always been intrigued to represent as an tangible medium my observations, and also constantly recording my views in appropriate media. Also, my intention in the recent body of works was critically looking into the methodologies involved in the process of restoration and curation of the artifacts in museological practice. And that careless attitude shown in while displaying or showcasing certain historical artifacts is pointed out through these works, and a vandalization of the historical by the various institutional practices is questioned through these works. And contextual meanings like this image produced is a common sign nowadays. Apart from the carelessness at the time, such attitudes are part of organized and systematic tinkering of historical data to consciously divert and misguide the masses by certain authoritarian or powers. It's also attempt at a possibility of questioning systematic problems through the same methodologies of display and labeling. The historical in these works are not as such exact image or replicas or a certain period images. And I have also kept the size of the works in a small size for it resembles closely the fake replicas, and obviously it was controllable and technically. This also adds an extra elements of seeing the works a bit closely and builds the interactive nature of the artwork. My present where I'm working, like the dream of yesterday, which I have done. Meher, can you show that image? Yeah, this is actually my present body of work where I did in Charnol. It's nearby Baroda. Actually, during the lockdown, I used to stay here from last 6 months. So I still am working on this, but there is a images like which I am practicing at the during lockdown. I used to, even I don't have any material to work that time. So I got this place to work. Randomly I started beginning. Then I thought it's a very good process. So then I continued that whole area with the cliff wall. So that I enjoyed a lot in that at that time. I enjoyed a lot. So the images came from what I practicing from my work. So same thing I transferred to here on the cliff wall. This is my my present work, and I'm working on here. And I also feel that humor which results from such acts of intentional and unintentional mismatches also allow further possibilities inquiring about the field and ideologies that act on this respectively. Actually, I'm also enjoying this crossing over a different disciplinary field and museology, which for me opens the bridges between imagination and actualization. So, I have these images. I think it's over. Or
Yeah, should I play the video
there
for
is a
you?
small clip of where I
Yeah.
work here.
Yeah.
If you possible,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish your
yeah.
talk so then I can play the video. Can everyone see the video?
No, not yet. I think you'll have to reshare the screen.
Yeah. Just a second.
It's not working.
Just a second. Just give me a second. It is working. I just will share it. Yeah, can everyone see now?
Yeah, but the video is not yet played.
Video has
You
not.
can see the folder.
Yeah. Anyway, if it's won't work, leave it. Otherwise, we can continue with the dialogues.
Okay, now. Okay, I think अभी नहीं हो रहा है. So I think there's a glitch in this.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. No
Yeah,
problem.
we can slightly take a moment and see.
Yeah.
Right. Chandrasekhar, are there any other points you want to add?
Yeah, you can continue if you ask any question. Or...
Yes. So, considering your overall practice and your close working with terracotta.
Yeah.
Just a moment. So, how does humor come into it? Like, especially when you're looking at the earlier image of the Buddha image assuming that it is a Buddha image when we typically go to a cave architecture,
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
there is a sense that in most cases we do not get to see, rather it is, we are going to get to see the rare side of the sculpture.
Mm.
So how and when we look at your work immediately, and there is a sense of, oh yes, this is a striking exposition over there.
Yeah.
Like probably if we start carving from the rear side of the mountain, uh,
Mm.
and it's also humorous to look in bits and parts of the sculpture.
Yeah.
Yes, the video is playing. I think let's have a look at it.
Yeah. It's small clipping. You can.
Sure.
Yeah. It's over.
Right. So two things here, like how do you envisage this idea? Like of course there is a kind of a humorous exposition which comes to the imagery here,
Mm.
as well as the idea of looking at archaeology in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a disruptive archaeology to look at in one way. So how do you come up with this visual?
Yeah. There are in a way mock images of seemingly historical.
Right, right.
Uh, Here the medium of it's not terracotta. Where I am working, especially in terracotta as a expert, and a plaster anyway in other organic medium.
Mm-hmm.
Like in especially in this work, I use like images where I'm taking that what I'm taking from the images from museum or especially from the historical place.
Mm.
Which is I always select the fragment images. So there is a idea of that transferring to in my work. I'm not going to do particular identify of a person or any images.
Right.
I always to make a I cut it or I will fragment it. So that is a quality of my work.
Mm-hmm.
So it adds that also it's fake authenticity which we generally see in the museums display and all around. Most of my works also deals with the idea of fragments, especially. I suppose this particular interest in fragment aligns well with the subject of my critique and also give an aesthetic possibility of existing independently in its own. The interest of the fragment to point out toward an interest in the historical. I have always tried to keep that humorous side when such illogical and impossible connections are made and new context emerges.
Right.
That's the idea.
Right. So, can you elaborate on the use of the medium and the way you are the use?
Actually, that terracotta is a totally it's a clay, so it's my childhood memory. So,
Right, right.
so I continued. Actually, I stopped because I went to art college. So there is so many material practices and everything has happened, and I came to museology. So there is a total practice is totally different. It's totally based on theory based or conservation, restoration, and all. So that then I changed my and I'm very flexible with the medium. So I continue with the same medium. Still, I'm doing that same. Also, I'm using other materials, but it's a main core material.
Right, right. Okay. So, yeah, thanks for the response. We will continue our discussion in the conjunction.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil, and thank you, Sri Patodia, for giving opportunity.
So, while we are looking at a sense of iconography and also a sense of iconoclasm in Chandrasekhar's work, we have a distinct element of the practice in when we look at Ashish Dhola's overall videos he makes and the processes he is involved with. सो मैं आशीष से पूछना चाहूँगा। आशीष बड़ौदा बेस्ड आर्टिस्ट हैं और काफ़ी वीडियोस के साथ काम करते हैं। सो मैं आशीष से पूछना चाहूँगा कि ये जो आपका प्रोसेस है जहाँ पे रिचुअलिस्टिक बेस्ड जो प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, जहाँ पे हमारे रोजमर्रा की चीजें, जैसे कि आपका प्रेयर ट्रांसफॉर्मर है, और आपका करंट वीडियो जो है जहाँ पे एक इंसान बार बार एक थैली उठा के रख रहा है आगे जाके, सो एक कल्चर को एक बार बार आगे पीछे साइकिल के तरह घुमाने के एक जो अप्रोच है, तो उसके बारे में आप क्या कहेंगे?
बेसिकली मैं सोसाइटी में जो भी चीज होता है, सोसाइटी में जैसे कि मेरा जो रिसर्च है, सोसाइटी में जो चीज मैं देखता हूँ और जो मैं परसीव करता हूँ, तो बेसिकली मैं उस तरीके का थोड़ा रिसर्च या फिर देखना थोड़ा पॉइंट आउट करता हूँ जहाँ पे रिपीटेशन हो रहा है। और रिपीटेशन को मैं इस तरीके से देख रहा हूँ कि रिपीटेशन होने पे मतलब कोई भी रूल्स है या फिर रिचुअल्स है या फिर जो भी जहाँ से शुरू हुआ था, जिस पर्पज से शुरू हुआ था, और उसका जो एक्चुअल अभी जो उसका जो करंट सिनेरियो है, तो वो चीज में जैसे कॉन्ट्रास्ट आ जाता है कि ये चीज शुरू हुआ था, इसके लिए शुरू हुआ था, और बाद में जाके लोग ने रिपीट करने के बाद वो पूरा चेंज हो गया। तो वही चीज मैं मेरे काम में इमेज में लाने का ट्राई करता हूँ। और बेसिकली मैं वही ट्राई करता हूँ कि लोग ज्यादा कनेक्ट हो ये सब चीजों से। तो बेसिकली कनेक्ट करने के लिए मैं लोगों को, व्यूअर को इन्वॉल्व करने के लिए बेसिकली मैं टेक्नोलॉजी वगैरह सब यूज करता हूँ, ताकि लोग ज्यादा उसके अंदर इन्वॉल्व हो और इंटरेक्ट कर पाए उसके लिए।
राइट। सो आशीष, आगे सवाल ऐसा आता है कि जब आप प्रे ट्रांसफॉर्मर का आप काम कर रहे हैं जिसमें माला का इस्तेमाल होता है, जपमाला का, राइट, वो हर धर्म में अलग अलग तरीके से इस्तेमाल होता है उसका। संस्कृत में माला का मतलब है माम लाति इति मालाहा, जो हमें हमारे मन को एक जगह पे बार बार दोबारा लाती है, उसे माला कहा जाता है। सो जब आप उस और काफी सारे जो लोग प्रेजेंट कर मतलब माला का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, हर धर्म के लोगों में अलग अलग किस्म से माला का इस्तेमाल होता है। सो उस रिपीटेशन जो होता है, बट काफी बार उसमें सिर्फ मैकेनिकल प्रोसेस भी हो जाता है कि हमने इतनी माला कर दी तो हमारा काम हो गया, या भगवान तक हमारे जो मंशा है वो पहुंच गई, या हमारी सेवा है वो पहुंच गई। तो लोगों का रिस्पांस क्या रहा है, और इस माला की प्रक्रिया को, मैकेनाइजेशन को आप किस तरह से देखते हैं?
जैसे ये काम का जैसे आइडिया था, तो ये काम का बेसिकली में इन्फ्लुएंस था, जैसे वो मंत्र बोलने के लिए जो भी मशीन आ गए, कि मंत्र का भी मतलब अपने स्पिरिचुअल लेवल को मैं क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर रहा, बट उसके सपोर्ट में जैसे बोल रहा हूँ कि वो एक मशीन आ गया मंत्र बोलने का। और धीरे धीरे जैसे अपने मंदिर टेम्पल में वगैरह जो भी देखते हैं, तो लोग आस्था के साथ जुड़े हुए रहते, तो वहां पे इनलॉजिकल बात और स्पिरिचुअल लेवल अपने इंसान के अंदर जो रहते हैं वहां पे वो अचीव होते हैं। बट जैसे रिलीजियस पूरा जो एस्पेक्ट देखे, उसमें धीरे धीरे मशीन आ रहे हैं, उसके अंदर धीरे धीरे मतलब मशीनरी को मैं इस तरीके से देखता हूँ कि वो लॉजिकल थिंग है और ये स्पिरिचुअल थिंग है। तो जैसे कोलाबरेट हो रही है दोनों चीजें, तो वहां पे काफी सारी फ्यूटाइलनेस क्रिएट हो रही है। जैसे कि ये मैंने अभी बात की कि ये मंत्र का मशीन आ गया, तो मंत्र उच्चार करने के लिए होता है, बट वहां पे वो होता है कि सिर्फ मशीन लगा दिया मंदिर में कहीं पे भी, तो मंत्र उच्चार करता रहता है और सिर्फ सुनते हैं, उसको फील नहीं करते। मंत्र एक्चुअली बोलना होता है, वहां पे अपने वो चीज करते ही नहीं है, तो वहां पे वो काफी सारा फ्यूटाइलनेस आता है। तो मैंने वही चीज को आगे एक स्टेप लेके गया कि अभी ये माला जो है फिजिकल करने वाला चीज है, एक चीज तो हो गया फिजिकल करने वाला चीज की मशीन आ गया, अभी ये दूसरा चीज है जो माला जपते हैं, वो चीज भी शायद आ जाए, तो लोग किस तरीके से एक्सेप्ट करेंगे नहीं करेंगे। तो वो जो रिसर्च रहता है ना, वो वहां पे मुझे थोड़ा मतलब मैं लोगों को वहां पे कनेक्ट करने का ट्राई करता हूँ कि आप इस मशीन को या फिर ये जो आइडिया उसको किस तरीके से देखते हो।
राइट। सो आगे कंटिन्यूशन में अभी ये जो माला का इस्तेमाल है, तो लोगों का क्या रिस्पॉन्स है इस चीज को?
मैंने एक बार इसको टेम्पल में भी डिस्प्ले किया था, लोगों ने काफी सारा मतलब उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। हनुमान जी के मंदिर पे बेसिकली किया था, तो वहां पे लोगों ने एक्सेप्ट किया था उसको। तो लोग जाके उसके अंदर कॉइन भी डालते थे और उसको हाथ जोड़ के ऐसे प्रे भी करते थे, और मतलब श्रद्धा के साथ ही देखते थे। ऐसा नहीं था कि ये मशीन आ गया तो मशीन नहीं होना चाहिए, ऐसा अपोज नहीं किया था लोगों ने।
ओके, राइट राइट। किसी और एक्सपेरिमेंट्स, मतलब एक तो मंदिर में हो गया, सो बट और कुछ एक्सपीरियंस रहा है उस बारे में? मतलब एक्सेप्टेंस
नहीं, बाकी तो ऐसा कुछ एक्सपीरियंस खास नहीं। ज्यादातर लोगों ने मतलब गैलरी में किया तो आर्ट की तरीके से देखा था, और जहाँ पे मैंने टेम्पल में रखा था तो वहाँ पे उन लोगों ने स्पिरिचुअल एक जैसे मशीन की तरीके से देखा था कि मशीन आ गया है तो उसमें कॉइन डालो तो अपना प्रयोग हो जाएगा, उस तरीके से देखा था। मैंने काफी 15-20 दिन वहाँ पे रखा था, वहाँ पे तो काफी सारे कॉइन भी उसके अंदर जमा हुए थे, पर वो पुजारी ने रख लिए थे।
ओके, ग्रेट ग्रेट। सो इसी बात के चलते, considering this very element of ethnicity and ritualistic approaches, जहाँ पे repetition एक significant element है, हर culture में है, हर religion में है, taking the point of what do you say, ethnicity in this case, I will ask Avni to respond to her choice of imagery, जहाँ पे basically motif making जो है, block printing, the use of block printing, motif and stylizing a certain icon, especially in this case the phallic series as well as her garland series, the iconography becomes very interesting and also sometimes might hint at a tantric reference. So what is your approach, Avni?
Hi, this is Avni, and my approach, I think all artists respond to their surroundings, right? All artists kind of respond to what they feel and how do they react to the society around them. And when I created this phallic form series, I was kind of going through a lot of male politics in Lalit Kala Academy, and I was like on the stage of getting married. I was finding men. I was talking to a lot of people on dating sites, and and at that point of time, I was kind of
socio-political millennial thing habit.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, please go on.
Yeah, so I was basically talking to a lot of men, and I had like recent observations about what are the biological differences between both men and women, right? And I kind of accepted them for a balanced society. I understood that how it is important to accept them, and these visuals came out as a response to those thoughts. Right, so these visuals are like an amalgamation of both genitals, like male and female, and then a kind of motive, or you say iconography, it came out as that visual. So yeah, so and yeah, I did about Indian art, tribal art, and those that motive, that intricacy is always there in Indian sculpture, Indian miniatures, and there's little detail and little ornamentation is there always, and I've always been into it. So I think that subconsciously reflects in my work.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, adding a layer to it, there is a sense of like using block printing and also mehendi pigmentation kind of a sense to your printmaking process. So yeah, so how does it evolve and how does it come to your imagery?
Well, I won't say it as mehendi, but yeah, because there's a decorative element to the work. Yes. Again, it is basically a very subconscious way of doing things. Like you keep on checking, like you keep on seeing these. As a female, I am like, I do respond to these things. Like I am asked to wear payal, or I am asked to wear mehendi on my hands, or So those little elements do come in my imagery naturally. It's not a pre-thought कि ये करना ही है,
Right.
Yeah, and eventually you develop your own language of creating, right? Like creating elements, and you put it in your work. So that's the process. Yeah. And for example, initially in this work, I was kind of inspired by a flower and a garland. So like a flower, okay? And I wanted to create a petal, okay? So, and it was like more of an amalgamation of a flower petal and a fan, or, you know, whatever we see around us, like these kind of little intricacies we see around us, right? So, and then I converted like this into a garland, like considering it a flower petal.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, and why garland? So it is basically a lockdown work, you know. Meher, can you just switch on this slide, the next slide? Can you? Yeah. So there's a little poem that I've written for everybody, like who is kind of going through these tough times, you know, like showing gratitude towards all the people who are going through these times, like the helpers, the doctors, the healthcare professionals, the priests who are praying for everybody, you know, so that everything gets fine, it's good. And so, yeah. So and it was a response. It was a response to the COVID times, basically, yeah.
Great. So, while you have a very biological and personal response to the choice of image and its stylization, so this hints at a connection with the organic forms, where Dipti's work is significantly considered connected with the idea of biology itself at large, and the organic forms, the forms she brings into her image making. So I would ask Dipti to speak about how that dissection as an element, as an artist, being an artist, and not getting into actually like in the conventional training sense, one never goes into a scientific laboratory and like does dissection. But here you have a peculiar curiosity about dissecting and then working into bringing those elements into your imagery. So Dipti, how would you respond to these ideas coming into your work?
See, basically, I had a keen observation of the many organisms, and regarding that, there was the basic characteristics that each and every organism has, like the monochrome colors, the sensitivity of the surface, then the organic forms, or the then wavy forms, and there is a fluidity, there is the locomotion. So all together, it all works in the not the sharper forms, but the forms which are always changing, and that's why it is called the biomorphic forms. So to make and to have more conversation with them, I reach in the masters of the second year, I reached to the zoology, to open up my more knowledge regarding the zoology and the more getting the forms and the informations about them. So it was the dissertation part I completed, and even many of the inspirations that I came across, like a dog. Yeah, in the previous, that was a dog, and its skin was continuously leaving because he was dead. And at a time I was making a sculpture, and to take the mold for it, I prepared a latex mold, that is a rubber mold, and finally I converted into the fiber cast. So I have connected with the dog skin, which was leaving its body. So some or the other way, I am always connecting, like there is only one process to make something, and even when it's leave its place from the world, then also it leaves some of the inspirations, it leaves some of the characteristics. Yeah.
Right. So how does that surreal element come into it? Like, of course, there is a direct relevance of decay in your work, and then kind of looking at the cover of the body, the skin in basically, and then shaping them in a certain way. So the shapes are not usual conventional forms what we generally see around with animals, with the domestic animals in peculiarly. So there is a surreal element to your work. So what would you say about that?
See, it was like I just don't want to just take the like copying some of the things, but there are 2 or 3 elements which I attracted. Like in this image, in the bottom of the image, there is the tree texture, and there is the zoological, which was the organism has been preserved. So gradually, I like to sketch fluxing both of the forms and fluxing both of the textures that it leaves or it has, and even its colors. And at a time when I continuously manipulated the sketch or the form, and at a time I feel like, no, this is the complete new creation of the organism which I have made. At that time, I stopped myself. Okay, and the small zinc plates before the sculpture, which is in the middle of it, so that are the another forms. So I am generating more biologic forms with having life in it, because it has because it all has the characteristics, like how you will make the form as a life. Okay, creating a fluidity, creating a surface quality. Right? Here in this sculpture also, I have connected 2 things like flora and fauna. Right? So the body which is below it is the fauna, and the top of the shape that is coming out like this, they are the leaves. Okay, and the right hand side of the bottom, there is a hole in the between, and some green elements are coming out. So like the body is also growing, and like the fauna is flora is also like parasites, like body ke upar all the organisms they live. So it is like my practice always deals with like flora and fauna and many more forms and many more inspiration and acknowledging books. Sometimes I read books. From the text I get some of the forms, some of the images. Yeah.
Right. Great. So this kind of further leads on to the idea of progeny and reproduction, and of course the kind of situation what we are facing with catastrophic conditions, where what organisms could harm us and what cannot is consistently becoming a tricky question for humanity at large. So, considering this idea of the growth and in terms of progeny, so I would lead this question to Prachi about how do you refer to the form of a child, an infant, and how does that get featured in your work? And there is a sense of absoluteness and just an objectified imagery of a child in your work process. So Prachi, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil, for the question, and thank you, Priyashi, for inviting me. Especially like for this session, because for me also the process of the work is more important than the narration of the work. So because of this, I think the audience will sort of understand where the works are coming from rather than just what the work is about. Coming back to what you were asking, Nikhil, my works are related to the growth and development of the body and the mind, and and change in the thoughts of ideas that we have as we grow up. Ray Bradbury, he said something like, it's a part of the nature of a man to start with romance and build to a reality. So similar to this, when we're young, we have these ideal notions, romantic notions about things and how the world is, especially when it comes to something like relationships or politics or, the world around you. So, when we're young, we're curious, and we might not always have, not always have the answers, or we might not always get the answers. So that's when I think the imagination and the assumptions, the curiosity begins. So right now, I'm focusing on this series, which is called The Child Indoor, that you can see right now, which is basically inspired by the events and the incidents that I have observed, or something that I've read about related to children, and how they observe and look at the world, especially related to topics like gender and gender roles and abuse, and the complexities that there are in growing up. So I started this series around 2 years back, and it was during the time when I was surrounded by a lot of kids. Like, I was working at a school. My sister was expecting, and she had a child recently. And I'm also at that age where where my time is coming close to have a child, or so is expected. So these topics, because of this, I became sort of like really sensitive to these stories, and I could relate to these stories with my childhood as well. So, when I talk about a child, it might not necessarily be about a child. It can also be about an adult. A person looking into their past, or that's why the series is called The Child Indoor. So I'm sort of trying to look at the child inside all of us, and ask these questions related to certain topics. So these are like sort of have been my trigger points that led me to this series of works.
Right. I'm curious how Avni would respond to these images, especially after her responses to premarital societal negotiations, and now looking at these imagery. So, as an individual, how would you respond to her Prachi's work?
I need to think. Let me just think for a while, and I'll definitely respond. I'm kind of enjoying the imagery right now.
Great.
And yeah, I really like this one, the last work she's done.
Sure. We'll come back to
So
it.
the adult that you might see in the work, of course it's up to the viewers, however they whatever they want to make out of it. But it could be really anything. It could be like an adult acting like a child, and that's why there is an image of a child, or an adult wanting to be a child in a certain situation, or looking at their own past and thinking about their childhood. So it's not just about the child, it's also the relationship that we have with children or with our past, and things like that.
Yes. So thank you, Prachi, for that elaborate reference. Now, speaking about the infancy, the notion of growth, and the use of a certain material, what you refer to, like of course the charcoal and the paperworks, what we see here. Slightly tangential, but I will like to ask Abhishek. अभिषेक, मैं आपसे सवाल करता हूँ यहाँ पे कि
यस सर,
आपका जो काम है जहाँ पे आप कंक्रीट सीमेंट का इस्तेमाल करते हो, और जो ग्लोब का रेफरेंस आप लेते हो, और ग्रोथ आपके दूसरा जो काम है, Meher, can we see the triangular work of this? Yes, yeah. तो इसका में भी एक पौधे का जन्म है, या पौधा कैसे इस कंक्रीट
प्लांट ग्रोथ
आता है. So ओवरऑल इस प्रोसेस के बारे में आप कैसे बात करेंगे, और ये एग्जैक्टली आपका जो मटेरियल का चुनाव जो है, जहाँ पे कंक्रीट का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, लोहे का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, तो ये आप इस मटेरियल का चॉइस तक कैसे आए?
Okay. First of all, thank you PSC and entire team for taking the initiative. Thank you Nikhil. ये आइडिया जो है वर्क का, इसका टाइटल है बैलेंस. कैन यू हियर मी?
हाँ, आपका आवाज आ रहा है, बट आपके कोई साथी भी है जो पीछे से आवाज कर रहा है?
नहीं सर, अच्छा
कोई बात नहीं जी, बोलिए।
ओके। बेसिकली इस काम का आइडिया जो था, मतलब मेरे ग्रैंडफादर ऐसे कंस्ट्रक्शन बिजनेस में थे,
जी
ठीक है। तो उनके पास ऐसे मटेरियल हुआ करते थे, जैसे प्लम्बॉब है, रिबार से, सीमेंट है। तो इन सब चीजों में से यूज टू था बचपन से ही, मतलब मैं यही देखा करता था, इनमें काम किया करता था कभी कभी से बचपन में। तो उनको मैंने उनके काम में वो प्लम्बॉब से बैलेंस चेक करते हुए देखा था, ठीक है। तो फिर जब जब ऐसे मैंने सोचा कि अरे, जब हम अपने काम में अगर बैलेंस का मतलब बैलेंस ढूंढते, तो वही बैलेंस हम जब काम करते टाइम नेचर और मतलब मैन-मेड कंस्ट्रक्शन और मटेरियलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट के टाइम क्यों नहीं देखते। तो उसकी वजह से ये मेरा मतलब इंस्पिरेशन था इस फॉर्म के लिए।
ओके जी। तो यहाँ पे एक I'm curious how to look at while Abhishek is using concrete. The globe is a concrete structure, and of course the imagery, the semantics is pretty clear what we are looking at, and how we are, as human intervention, we are converting the globe into a concrete surface. So the criticism is pretty clear through his work, and pretty powerful to look at the imagery, how it is being carved out at the center. The epicenter is almost carved out like a scoop of an ice cream. While choice of the cement is a kind of a childhood reference to Abhishek, I would like to ask Chandrasekhar about to comment or to come up with some references where he is looking at the organic material of clay, and how would you refer, and about the choices and the differences in this case.
Yeah, I think अभिषेक ने ये चीज बनाया है, शायद वो आप बहुत कॉन्क्रीट चीजों को बहुत इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो, वो चीज
यस
हाँ, वो एक्चुअली मटेरियल ऑर्गेनिक जो मेरे साथ जो हो रहा है, जो कनेक्शन, तो मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है ये जो ग्लोब, तो मुझे बहुत पसंद है आपका जो ग्लोब बनाया है। तो उसमें जो चीज ऐसा हो रहा है, लाइक प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन जो है, हम जो फेस कर रहे हैं, पैंडेमिक है, व्हाटएवर, तो वो चीज इसमें बहुत कनेक्ट कर रहा है, लाइक द सिचुएशन ऑफ द ग्लोबल टाइम पीरियड, तो बहुत इसके साथ मुझे कनेक्ट कर रहा है। तो आई थिंक दिस इज द बेस्ट वर्क अभिषेक, व्हाट यू डन।
या थैंक यू एक थोड़ा सबकॉन्शियसली हो गया था एक काम, मतलब जैसे मैं सोच रहा था कि अब मॉडर्नाइजेशन और मटेरियलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट इतनी तेजी से फैल रहा है कि हम नेचर को इतने मतलब रिप्लेस करते जा रहे हैं सीमेंट कंक्रीट से। मतलब जहाँ पे ऐसे फॉरेस्ट एरियाज था नेचर का, वो डिस्ट्रॉय करके वहाँ पे कंस्ट्रक्शन खड़ा कर रहे या बिल्डिंग्स बना रहे। तो कुछ टाइम बाद ये पूरा जो ग्लोब है वो पूरा ऐसे बाहर से सीमेंट का ही दिखेगा, मतलब जस्ट एक कैसे
it's happening with the road, and especially in concrete roads, because there is no space for tree. In even I saw there is a concrete means it's like it's killing the total plants. So they are putting concrete till the roots of the trees. So there is there is so many connection with this work, I think.
Right. So there are some questions which we'd like to address from the audience. So there are a lot of so at this note we open up the platform for questions for artists from the audience, and there are already some questions over here, so I will start with some of them. So yes, so there is question to Deepti. Please tell us about your days at laboratory and how it influenced your work. I think you have partially responded to it, but it would be great to give some anecdotes in the context.
Basically, according to the question like this, see, it was my academic process. So I have to do one dissertation and I have selected a topic. I have to do an internship also.
Okay.
So I have connected both dissertation and the internship in the one topic. So in the zoology, why I have chosen zoology because there is a direct connection and it will open up my vast knowledge and my dictionary elements for the visually creating. So at that place, I did one dissection of a crab. Like each and every zoologist do, they do the taxidermia for to again branch into them. Like which genres this species will come in another family. So their purpose of the taxidermy is to classify that species into some of the group. Okay, कि वो कौन से group में आएगा species. So I did the dissection of a crab, and it is like my experience was like from the outside there is one form, and when we do the dissection, we have more colors, we have more textures, qualities, and we have many of the fluid elements and many more things like जैसे कि एक लेयर खोलो तुमको और कुछ नया इंटरेस्टिंग दिखेगा एक और लेयर जब सरप्राइजिंग एलिमेंट वन लेयर बाय वन so I was basically very enjoying this thing and even I have seen the dissection of a cow also so but layer by layer I'm getting some interesting elements for my work inspiration so yeah and lastly like a visual artist, how they react for the zoology and how the zoologists are using the visual fundamental elements. So I have lastly, when I completed my dissertation, I have given one presentation to the zoology department of the MSc, and there I have pointed out some of the points like aesthetics and some of the principles they were using, like we or artists also use. And the second question about like I really enjoyed the Priyashree studio. It is on the 10th floor and it was full of freedom. Like the space, the light quality, and yeah, my most important work, the major first sculpture that I have made. It was created in the Priyashree studio, and ma'am was also continuously guiding me also. And she has made me motivated like you go to the zoology, create some more elements and all. So that was the best experience of my studio work.
Right.
Baroda.
Okay. Thank you, Dipti.
Thank you.
Yeah, we move on to the next question here. Yeah, it is directed to Avni. I'm still wondering, why do you use a specific color that you use to work with? Also, how do you address the expansion of personal to universal?
So, see, I've always been very interested in the outer sellouts of any form, right? And for me, I think the creation of the motive or the form is really important. So if I use multiple colors, I think it is a very, it deviates you from the structural plus points of the work, right? So I always preferred to use single color. I've reached, trust me, when I was in bachelor's, I used to like 10 colors, 15 colors in my work. I used to do 10 color woodcuts. But eventually, once your practice grows and once you are more sorted about the content you are creating and the impact, you kind of become aware of the impact, you know, and gradually you understand that what color will suit the work and what will not. So it was always preferred that red is the color, and I think red color is Indian, like it represents India, right? So yeah, it was like a very thoughtful way of thinking, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So there is a question, there is a comment on Abhishek's work. It is from Shanti, and it says, the globe looks like as if it is crying. Yes, indeed, it is a very animated and strong visual to look at. Yes. Right. So my next question would be to to Prachi, like you are looking at infancy in a certain way, and the way you are kind of capturing a certain age group and also the developmental stages. So the toddlers typically whom we could call it as. So what type of anatomical references you look at? When I say anatomy, I do not mean the scientific anatomy, but while representing what kind of imagery based anatomy you are looking at.
Are you like sort of getting at like what inspires me to develop the body of the figures?
Yeah, there are peculiar positions, of course, the positions, and these are positions you notice when you are in a close proximity. And as you mentioned that your sister has a child, so the images can come only when you are in a close proximity. And of course, those are very transient, and the moment the child starts walking, standing up, and those imageries are lost. So how does that become a record of your work? Like get into the imagery of it?
So a lot of works do come from observing like the child around me. So also sometimes what I try to do is I sort of like have this mini theater going on where the story or the incident, whatever I am looking at, sort of becomes like the script for me, and I then become the actor, and you know, and like I said, it's about bringing out the atmosphere of the incident and not the incident or the story of the incident as it is. So if it is something that is unsettling, if the story is an unsettling story, so then the figures also start having those unsettling poses, and it's quite gestural. So I think that's where it comes from, enacting whatever the character is feeling and then putting it out on paper.
Right. So another question from the audience to Prachi, why are you using it in black and white? Any specific reason? Children are lively and colorful. Yes. Why morose?
It's not specifically black and white. I mean, in these works especially, I'm just working with one medium, that is charcoal, on the brown paper. And so it's sort of, I'm a person that likes minimalism as much as I like figurative works. So I try to find the balance between the both and try to get, as minimalistic I can be in my figurative works. So I think the color choice, the number of people in the work, all sort of like comes from there. Yes. Also, there's, I think, that idea of stripping away whatever that is not necessary. So I think that's what inspires.
Okay. So being specific, you mean?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there are some comments in the sense of likings which people have sent. Excellent work, all artists. Would love to interact with artists in Vadodara. Of course, all of you are able to see those comments. The last comment is about, I enjoyed all the works and the thoughtful journey of every artist. Kumar, Deepthi, Chandrasekhar, and all artists doing some different work. Great. So we are running out of time, and probably we could take a couple of inputs here. And if any artists who would like to add on to the discussion and continue the dialogue, please feel free to.
For a moment, I forgot that we are in lockdown and, we are in these COVID times. Seriously, with this forum today, I'm just thinking that I think you guys have more daunting things to do, and the wrestle which is going on in your mind is much more than what is happening in the world. See, you took me away to another world. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
And honestly, that their works are not anymore just a mere reflection, of their socio-political and millennial they are alive in. Rather, they are actually a critical perspective of what we should be looking in future, and they're actually questioning the very existence. So it's a very special time, guys, that you people, you, me, all of us are alive, and the speculation can really wait that, you know, when will the drug come? But this uncertainty is allowing some of us into retreating, into facing our own demons and fears, and also making us more vulnerable. And it really takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable, by the way. So thank you for sharing your journey. And there's this Slovenian location, Hegelian Sebog Zizek. He tells us we have to gather the strength to fully assume the hopelessness. So taking forward, there's a lot of hope.
Right.
Yeah. I would just want to say that just as an artist, please do keep on creating a lot of art and make your words enough big that people start recognizing you, seeing you, and they kind of give time to your thinking. Like, you need to be big enough, you know.
It's the best time to be retrospective, actually. We have a lot of time in hand to be retrospective.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. While the situation has been devastating at many levels, economy, of course, and especially the arts and performing arts have been hit very strongly. Primarily because of the restrictions on mobility and all sort of things we are aware of. But at the same time, it has also made us, which we were resistant to open up our dialogue to a more engaging and diverse audiences. So this is a great opportunity, and especially to look at young practices here, which are getting formulated and they are getting devised. And of course, each of us are facing what we are facing in our own respective capacities and probabilities. But while saying so, it is also the creative urge which has kept going, and this conversation has indeed, or the range of conversation, not just this one, but the entire art world, the way it is responding and trying to make reconnect with each other is a phenomenal development, we can say. And yes, so on this note, I would like to thank all the artists from the session 1 and session 2 for responding so intriguingly, being insightful and opening up your studios, and for your valuable time, and for engaging with me, because most of your works were new to me, and it was indeed a pleasure looking at your practices in a closer manner. So yes, over to you, Priyashree.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikhil, for sparing this time, and thank you all of you that you shared your personal experiences. And like I always say, that to be sincere and to be able to honestly speak and show what you mean, it takes courage. And I can only say that, you know, you're actually documenting history, and tomorrow people are going to look at you. Some will speculate, oh, was that fiction? And some will say that, oh, this was reality. So you guys are actually writing the new history. So congratulations to all of you, and I hope to keep in touch with you. Thank you.